Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we are continuing the 100 Dragon Challenge. So for this month, we're kicking off our Spoopy October month with a jack-o'-lantern dragon. This whole month I'm going to be doing some creepy, cool things for every week this month to celebrate October and Halloween. So let's jump into our first video of the month. So I wanted to do this jack-o'-lantern dragon for quite a while now. I think I've done a couple other creepy dragons around Halloween time, if I remember correctly. They're all starting to fade together at this point. But I've been wanting to do this one for quite a while, and I can't remember if there was, I think last year I was aiming to do it, but then I decided to do OC-tober instead of any dragons at all. So this time around I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna finally do it, and I'm gonna make this dragon. So my thought was like we'd have a really cool carved jack-o'-lantern head, like I said, jack-o'-lantern dragon. The horns could be kind of like the stems of the pumpkin. And then in terms of the body shape, I kind of imagine it almost having like a gremlin-y gargoyle type of pose. Like it's more of a bipedal dragon with maybe some cool long arms and cool long talons. And then I was like, oh, let's do some like cool raven wings or like big feathery wings I thought would look really cool. And then the tail, I was like, oh, what if we made that out of like pumpkin vines? And so I was like, we're gonna have like vines and fire and maybe some leaves and a couple other textured things throughout this whole creature. And I was really excited to jump in and start getting the final piece ready. So I decided to go portrait with this one just because I knew he'd be sitting and kind of sitting upright. And I didn't think it would fit very well on a landscape piece of paper, so I was like, all right, we're gonna do a portrait. And so I really liked the kind of hunched pose I did in my initial sketches. I was like thinking if he was almost sitting like on top of a wall, just like watching people go by. I'd love to develop some lore for this thing of like what he is. Is he like the jack-o'-lantern king type of thing, or like, man, I don't know. There's so many ideas that you could like go with for this, but I'll let you guys figure maybe some out in the comments below. Like if you have like fun lore ideas for him as you see him get finished and developed and drawn, I would love to hear them. So like I said, I wanted him to kind of have this hunched over position, and I kind of wanted him to look like a little sassy, like a little kind of, you know, mischievous character. I wanted him to kind of be sitting being like, haha, look at me, and like having this big toothy grin from the jack-o'-lantern. And I was like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to have like one knee up and he's like resting his arm on that knee and maybe like leaning on his other hand, like holding his foot. I was like, I think that'd be a really fun pose. And this way you could see a lot of the detailing on the body and different elements that I added throughout him. And then I had a really fun idea of, I originally thought of on his shoulders it being like the leaves, or not the leaves, the feathers from the wings. But I was like, well, what if we made them leaves, like this really cool, leafy, what is it called? There's a word for it. But basically like, it's not like a cape, but it's literally just a, like when people put like a fur collar, but it's like a really big bushy fur collar. There's a word for it. It's escaping me, but I was just thinking something like that, but with some cool fall leaves. And we could add lots of different colors, like some reds and oranges and yellows. I thought that would look really cool right next to the big pumpkin head. And then I decided to kind of take a book out of Ghost Rider in terms of like, I thought it'd be really cool to have like the fire that lights up the jack-o'-lantern kind of emitting from its chest, and it would have these like cool like white pumpkin like ribs, so they look like kind of longer white gourds for ribs, and then the fire would kind of emanate from within the chest and come around and engulf the back of the pumpkin head, and then it would light up and be within the inside of the pumpkin head. So then you get like the really cool jack-o'-lantern glow. So that's why I ended up not doing the line art for it, because I'm like, I'm just gonna jump in and do the colors and make it just like fire without line art. But as the line art started like coming together, I was getting more and more excited, especially for the leaf shoulders. I really liked that. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of this piece. I really also like the vine tail. But man, I really like those leaf shoulders. I'm like, I need to use that for another creature in the future or like something similar, because how they turn out, I was super, super happy with. And then for the wings, I wanted to kind of have a leaf feathery combo, because now I was going back and forth on if it would be all leaves or feathers, but I was like, we could kind of leave it ambiguous. At first, I was like, I wanted them to be raven, black wings, but later on, I kind of have them mix in a bit better with the leaves. So now it's time to pick some colors. So obviously I needed to get some colors for the fire. We needed like yellows, oranges, and reds, and then the pumpkin, I wanted to make an orange pumpkin. And then it was like from there trying to figure out what other colors to do for this piece. So I knew for the leaves I wanted different shades of browns and reddish browns, and a couple of like yellows, and I don't know if it's considered purple. I guess like a maroon. I found like a really nice maroon that I wanted to use for the leaves as well. So I was basically looking for a bunch of different fall palettes. And then I also picked out a really nice mossy green that we were going to use for the vines. I thought it would look really nice to just have a pop of green with all these browns and reds. And so I was really excited to jump in and get the coloring going. So of course I wanted to start with the head. I really wanted to kick off like this is the base point for it to start, because I was still kind of going back and forth on a few colors. So for example, later on you'll see what I pick, but for like the body and the wings, I was still thinking about going for like raven black. Like I was thinking it'd be really cool to have the body covered in like black feathers, and then the wings to also be these really cool raven black feathers. But as I was coloring and working, it just felt like it was going to be too harsh of a contrast. Like I think, what is it? I remember my family used to, specifically my mom and grandma, if you're listening to this, I'm not trying to call you out, but I remember for forever they were like, black and brown don't go together with clothing. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I still put black and brown together with clothing, but in this case I was like, yeah, black and brown for this one isn't gonna work as well in my mind, and I wanted it to have more earthy tones throughout. So as I was coloring, I was like, all right, we're gonna really hone in and stick to those earthy tones, probably not do solid blacks and grays like I was thinking, but you'll see kind of what I do in replacing instead of this crazy black and gray or like really intense black wings. I end up going over this pumpkin a few times as well because I wanted it to look like it was glowing around where the fire was coming from, but then I realized I'm like, the whole point of the jack-o'-lantern is so the inside of the eyes and mouth and nose, those are like the brightest part, and then the outer pumpkin tends to stay a little darker. So I was like, I'm gonna go back over this with orange and like make sure those eyes and other things really pop, and I think that helped a lot. And then it was time to jump into the leaves. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for these leaves. I knew I wanted a few to have some cool like fading transitions. So I basically just picked from I think I'd used like 6 or 7 colors for the leaves. Maybe it was 6. And I would like pick one and I'm like, all right, we're gonna color a couple of these leaves this color. Then I'd pick another marker and I'd say a couple of these leaves in this color and try to make it at least a little random, so it looks like kind of like when you get just a pile of leaves that fell from a few trees around the area. And I think that turned out really good. On this other side, I did the same thing, basically picked the same exact colors, dropped them in. I didn't really do the transition-y orange to browns like I showed on a couple of the leaves on the other side, but I still think it works out. I think it still looks good with those colors in general. And then I jumped into the tail, which I originally put with like the mossy green, and later I add in a little bit of brown to help like change up the texturing and coloring on it. I didn't want it to just be one solid green mass, and so adding that little bit of brown helped break up the color a little bit. So from there, it was time to just get stuck in, get the rest of this colored. Let's get that body done, and then these big wings I gotta get colored through and basically have them try to match the leaves just a little bit instead of just doing these giant raven black wings. So let's jump into it and get stuck in. So we're in the final stretch of this design, and as you can see here, I started the body with those grays and blacks because this was about the time I realized I didn't really like the blacks and grays together with the brown. So I just decided, let's go ahead and tone the whole thing in the blacks and grays, and then I'll do a wash of a brownish tan to try to like basically, what is it? Not unionize. Basically connect the body color to the rest of the color of the creature. I also like what the tan color kind of did to the body in general. It gave it kind of a cool patterning, made it look a little interesting and kind of like undead mossy grass type of thing. So I was pretty happy with at least adding the tan over the gray. And so then I just hit it with a couple highlights of my white gel pen and added a couple more shadows that needed to be added into to help different body parts stand out from other parts of the creature. And then we were done. So this one was really fun. I had such a blast, and it was a great way to kick off October and get me excited for Spoopy season because Halloween is my favorite holiday in general. But let's go ahead and look at last month's entries for the digital dragon. You guys did amazing. I really love these. A normal ADN, I really love this GIF you made. It totally looks like the dragon just took over the computer. And Duck Theorist, I love the idea that yours is coming out of like a dragon.exe. It's super cute. And then the rest of you guys did amazing. I really like your guys' malware ones. Like Scorching Shadow, yours looks bomb, and like everyone else's looks really cool with the malware idea. I didn't even think of that. And good job, everyone, with your digital dragons. Amazing work. Thank you guys so much for participating. If you would like to participate in this month's Jack-o'-lantern dragon, make sure to post it on Instagram or Twitter with the hashtag KM100dragons, or you can join our Discord server where you can post it in one of the channels that's specifically for 100 dragon entries. And if you guys want to join the Discord, we host monthly art contests. We have like a draw it in your style chat room. We have lots of fun things happening over on the Discord. We would love to have you. We're a wonderful little community. But either way, thank you guys again so much for stopping by and checking out this video. Please, if you aren't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community, and hit the like button if you like the 100 Dragon Challenge. I know it's been kind of losing a little bit of traction on the channel, and I think it's just not really making it to people. So hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.